What's up, theme park fans? Welcome to another episode of E-Ticket Insight. Today we are back, of course, at Universal Studios Hollywood. We're going to be taking a look at the ongoing construction happening here at City Walk, as well as taking a look and speculating a bit more on Illumination Land, or the possibility of an Illumination Land coming to the streets of the world. But first I want to start right here at Howl at the Moon. In my last video, I said it was going to be closing on the 17th, I believe. That was actually inaccurate. It's going to be closing on October 27th in just a couple of days. So if you are a fan of Howl at the Moon, you do have a couple more days to party it up. Now, I have also heard from a somewhat unreliable source that when Howl at the Moon does close, there may actually not be any replacement for it. And what does that mean? It means nothing accessible to guests will replace Howl at the Moon. Instead, it'll be used for NBC Universal offices and whatnot, which would make sense since pretty much the upper level of the city food area, with the exception of Carl Strauss Brewing Company, is Universal Studios office. Like here they have the special events building and the talent office. It would make sense to have another Universal Studios office right there. And of course, It's Sugar still has its walls up. I'm starting to think they're not actually building anything, and what this truss may be is a layer of protection, possibly due to maybe a piece of the facade falling, as kind of an insurance policy, because they're not doing anything to address that, and they're not actually building anything. Everything is just covered up, and they have this giant awning. So I don't think we'll actually see any changes to It's Sugar when they finally fix the top of that facade. And just outside It's Sugar, Abercrombie & Fitch is being expanded to include Abercrombie Kids starting in December 2019. So if you're excited about that kind of stuff, there you go. It's still nothing at Element, but I'm thinking since we saw inside the actual building in last week's video, we can pretty much write this off as anything happening this year. I would be shocked if anything was announced this year, but it's looking like maybe next year we'll see something new. And the same thing with Angel. I think we could pretty much write this off as expecting anything to be announced this year. But probably next year we should hear if anything is slated to replace Angel. But I still hope they tear this whole building down. And before we head into the park, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, subscribe. Let me know if you like the construction updates I'm doing. That would mean a lot to me. If I know that you're enjoying what I'm doing, the more I know you enjoy it, the more I'm going to want to do, the more I'm going to want to come to the park and cover it and talk a little bit about the construction, as well as giving you a little bit of insight as to what is actually going on. No fake rumors here, guys. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at E-Ticket Insight, Instagram E-Ticket Insight, and Facebook E-Ticket Insight. Pretty easy, as that would also mean a whole lot to me. Alright guys, let's head into the park. And it is a busy day today, and a hot day. And on Universal Boulevard, we've got our first signs of Christmas lights adorning the top of these facades, but not this one, not the entrance to Universal Studio stores yet. And on the Animation Studio store, we've also got Christmas lights going up, but no Christmas lights yet on the front half of Universal Boulevard. And speaking of Christmas, it was actually recently announced this week that Grinchmas, I should say, is returning, along with Christmas in the Wizarding World on November 28th, which is Thanksgiving Day. And it'll be running daily, unlike years past where it would only run on weekends and peak days. We're going to be getting Grinchmas and Christmas in the Wizarding World every day, pretty much through the month of December, which should help alleviate crowds, as it does get pretty insane on those peak days where it's almost gridlock if you're moving between the Wizarding World and Grinchmas. But I love Grinchmas. It's one of my favorite events that Universal does, and I cannot wait to see that coming back. It also sounds like this year we are going to be getting a new or heavily upgraded tree. And directly besides Universal Plaza is, of course, the Secret Life of Pets. The scrims are still pretty much up, but we can see the brickwork on this side. It is now being detailed, painted, and sculpted a bit. Those bricks definitely look like they have dimension, and it doesn't look like they've actually started any work on Pet's Place as well. And the walls in front of Secret Life of Pets have been pushed all the way back, now allowing you to get right up in front of that new facade on the side. It looks really, really colorful and really detailed. It kind of gives us a better idea of the sightlines of the facade. If you got the top of the apartment complex, I think we'll have a water tower right up around there. It's actually really nice. I was not expecting to like it this much because of how awkwardly it's facing. It's facing the opposite of Guest Path. But I really like it. Now, in last week's video, we saw the Pet's Place sign and sort of speculated about the possibility of an Illumination kind of land coming to this part of the park. But then this week, Inside Universal reported that there is something like that possibly in the works, in which there will be Illumination neighborhoods. So Pet's Place will be its own little Pets neighborhood. Despicable Me will be its own little neighborhood, even though it pretty much already is. And that's pretty much all we know so far. So I think it's safe to assume, if Inside Universal is reporting it, that those changes are going to come relatively soon. Meaning my original hope for them tearing down the Parisian Plaza most likely won't end up happening. We'll probably end up seeing an overlay coming to this side of the building. But what would that include exactly? Well, let's take a look. Over on Pet's Place, I'm thinking we could see some extension of these facades up so that they will scale better with the huge, extremely tall Secret Life of Pets facade. I'm thinking they'll make these buildings look a lot more New York-y. I'm thinking we'll see a lot of static pets kind of in the windows and adorning the facades, kind of like the Minions are over in Super Silly Funland, where they're all over the place. I'm thinking we'll see pets everywhere. And then over here for the Despicable Me neighborhood, I personally would like to see them create just a small area of Minion Park. And if you've seen Minion Park, it's sort of the Despicable Me land that they have in Japan. But it's very urban, very colorful, and in fact that would actually go really well right next to Secret Life of Pets stylized New York, to have those colorful brick, almost Main Street-esque facades with more minions hanging off the top and having fun. As for the interior of Parisian Plaza, I would assume they could use that for meet and greets. They could literally do anything with that interior space. But it is used for Halloween Horror Nights, and I think that's going to be the primary reason for keeping the interior of Parisian Plaza. The biggest question, though, if they do end up just re-theming Parisian Plaza to fit the Illumination neighborhoods, is what do you do with this street, which is French Street? And that is really anyone's guess at this point. I mean, a portion of Illumination Entertainment's animation department is based in France. That's the only connection I can make with Illumination in Paris. It kind of seems like they're doing the Illumination version of Pixar Pier, having neighborhoods and distinct areas for each IP, except in my opinion, this sounds kind of better. So I can't wait to see, and I'm guessing by the time Secret Life of Pets opens, we'll pretty much know what they're going to do, if it's not our opening alongside Secret Life of Pets. But exciting times. Another big question is, if they do end up re-theming Parisian Plaza into Secret Life of Pets Land, what happens to this area? Does it stay the same? Do they turn this into Illumination? I think something would be really cool is if they turned the actual courtyard of Parisian Plaza just behind this facade into the main entrance. So they put like a big illuminated Illumination sign. You walk through, and then when you exit, you're on the other side. You've got Super Silly Funland to your right, Despicable Me straight ahead of you, and Secret Life of Pets to your left. And now at ground level for Super Nintendo World, there have been some pretty interesting developments. They added this thing right up there. That's the biggest development of all time. Actually, more interesting enough, down here we can see a staircase. Right there, I'm guessing that is when you are on the second floor queue, you actually walk down this staircase. into the loading area, because the loading area is in this general front corner area. And there's also been some developments over here in the land itself. Now we walking over, they've added a lot of steel in this back corner. And it looks like the first signs of the exterior second floor can be seen. So we zoom in, we get a much better look at that. They've added an angled corner piece that sort of connects this building to this structure. The only angled corner piece I know of in Japan is the entrance into Mario Kart, which is Bowser's, basically his mouth, his castle, his face. But Mario Kart is over here. So I'm really wondering how this is going to play out. It's possible that this could also be a slightly smaller version of Peach's castle in this corner, because we do know the tallest structure in the land is going to be about in this area, which could be the main spire of Peach's castle. So much speculating, so much fun. It also looks like they've maybe added a bit of steel coming this way, coming towards us. But again, it's all speculation at this point. And it's so much fun. Now I'm gonna go try and get down to Jurassic World, see if I can get a better, closer look at this steel that has just gone up. Because it looks like this part right down here, let me zoom in just a bit. This part here is the first visible section of an exterior second floor. Hopefully. We'll see. But also, now that I'm looking at the land, all they really need to remove is Studio Cafe and have people walk through this area, because this is a fine sight line. And then you've got the bathrooms right there that could be incorporated into the land. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what we could possibly see. More Mario Kart. Yes, I love it. Actually, I'm gonna try and get into the extended queue of Transformers, see if I can get a better look in that back corner. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you can see pretty much into the whole land from here. Oh yeah. I mean, this, you know, a lot of people are saying that this land is going to be small, but this is sizable. I mean, it looks a lot bigger in real life than it does in a lot of the photos. It's really cool. I love it. And over at Jurassic World, we can get a better look at that new steel right there. That sort of cornered entrance to whatever will be in that back area of the second floor of the land. And then we're going to take a look at those vertical steel beams that we looked at last week. And of course, pause the video right here. We can see another beam in the center of the frame. I didn't notice that beam last week, but whatever they're doing, it's a pretty clear indication that the Mushroom Kingdom building will extend all the way and be, at the very least, extremely, extremely close to the backside of Jurassic Cafe. We're talking a matter of 4 to 5 feet. That's how close these steel beams are to the backside of the Jurassic Cafe, because they keep going. There's another one directly behind that one right in the middle. Now I'm wondering, what if they were, again, to maybe not incorporate the second level, but what if they were to merge and expand the Jurassic Cafe kitchen so that it can service both Jurassic Cafe and Super Nintendo World, not unlike Springfield and Three Broomsticks. And furthering this possible speculation, if you look kind of at the bottom of the frame, you see a lot of plumbing, a ton of it. That could mean either bathrooms or a kitchen facility. And what a great way to save even more space, because we know it's not a small land, but it's going to be very tight. So if by combining the two kitchens, or at least expanding the Jurassic Cafe kitchen to service the two lands, it would make a lot of sense for them to do that, which I think we're looking at right in front of us.
So, is there only one of indulgence rats in the park? Yes, originally she did have a sibling, but now there is only one. And because...
And for this last shot, this last look at Super Nintendo World for today's construction update, we're taking you onto the studio tour. This will give you a pretty good idea of the scope and the scale of the land, as well as give you a good different angle of that new steel right there in the furthest corner of Nintendo. Again, I don't know what it is. It could be Peach's Castle. I'm kind of leaning towards Peach's Castle. But we also get a very clear look at the two floors. Just based on the shape of the steel, we can clearly see where the bottom floor is and where the top floor will align. And of course, we get kind of a good look at the interior show building, all of the trusses that are hanging down. And apart from that, we're generally not going to get a good look at anything substantial in terms of what the show scenes may be. We can kind of tell where they're going to be hanging projectors. And we've seen the staircase that leads down into the loading area. But beyond that, this is pretty much the view we're going to get. All of these trusses that are hanging down, that's going to support the lighting, the audio. Of course, there's going to be a number of projectors. I think we should expect there to be screens within this ride at certain points, at least based on the patents that have been filed. And just the nature of the ride, it would probably have to be screens. And in fact, I know this back corner, it's very apparent that is going to be a projector truss right there, that large truss in the top corner that you could saw briefly for a second for a large curved screen. And they're also doing something right next to Soundstage 29. Interesting. And that's our look at Mario Kart. And with that, we're going to call this video a quits. We've got our Horror Nights setup going on, which means it's time to actually leave the park. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of E-Ticket Insight. I love talking about Universal Studios Hollywood. I love talking about all theme parks in general. So if you want to see my speculation almost non-stop, be sure to follow me on Twitter at E-Ticket Insight, where you get a lot of fun like Photoshops, and also follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook, which I just started posting to recently. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you. Show your support, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe for the latest theme park news. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one.